modern societies. In 2007, it was discovered that the created externalized electromagnetic field energy could be used to perform positive work in electric generators and in electric motors. That their kinetic energy could be increased without requiring any externally supplied input energy. Because the kinetic energy of these generator and motor innovations could be increased without any external input energy, a source of internally created energy would have to be identified. Application of the work energy principle to the Regenetic generator's performance identified the electromagnetic field energy as the source of the internally created energy, which contributes to the kinetic energy increase, acceleration of potential difference inks, generator and motor innovations. Moreover, it was also identified that the source of the energy which contributed to the deceleration or negative work, kinetic energy decrease in all conventional generators was, again, it was externalized electromagnetic field energy. That was created, God knows when, before the Big Bang, and which is now being externalized around a current carrying conductor. The scientific community's assertion since 1834, LENZ'S law, that negative work, electric vehicle regenerative braking, generator armature reaction, can be performed by electric generators without energy while violating the work energy principle was proven false. In order to force electric generator performance into compliance with the theory of conservation of energy, that energy can't be created, said generators must be falsely provided with the ability to perform negative work without energy. And they must be falsely provided with the ability to violate the work energy principle, which they can't do. Okay, LENZ'S law. When an EMF is generated by a change in magnetic flux, according to Faraday's law, the polarity of the induced EMF is such that it produces a current whose magnetic field opposes the change which produces it. Oppose means to actively resist, and actively resist means negative work. The induced magnetic field inside any loop of wire always acts to keep the magnetic flux in the loop constant. The induced magnetic field energy inside any loop of wire always performs negative work in order to keep the magnetic flux in the loop constant. So here we have examples of a magnet approaching a coil of wire, and the field that is resisting the electromagnetic field that is performing negative work, reducing the kinetic energy of the approaching magnet, is a north pole. And when the south pole is moving away, the electromagnetic field that's created around the coil is also performing negative work, and it's resisting the magnet's departure away from the coil. When a north pole magnet is moving away from the coil, the electromagnetic field energy that's created around the coil is producing a south pole, which is again actively resisting or performing negative work on the magnet that's moving away. And when we have a south pole that's moving towards the coil, the created electromagnetic field energy around the coil produces a south pole. And this electromagnetic field energy reduces the kinetic energy of the approaching magnet, performs negative work, and creates a counter electromagnetic torque. So the work energy principle states that the work done on an object, i.e. a magnet, is equal to the change in the kinetic energy. So if the kinetic energy of this magnet is reducing, as explained in LENZ'S law, then we have to identify a form of energy that's performing the work. And it is the electromagnetic field energy that's externalized. Now I have to change everything that I've ever said. The electromagnetic field energy around the coil is externalized electromagnetic field energy, and it's performing negative work in each of these various scenarios. So if we expand LENZ'S law with the inclusion of the work energy principle, when an EMF is generated by a change in magnetic flux according to Faraday's law, the polarity of the induced EMF is such that it produces a current whose created magnetic field energy, and again externalized, again created, yes, created a hell of a long time ago, and externalized now, and we're going to show that in a second in a little demo. The externalized magnetic field energy performs negative work and reduces the kinetic energy, as we see here, of the change that produces it. So it's the movement of the magnet in this case that is inducing the current in the wire, and it's the externalized magnetic field energy that is reducing the kinetic energy of the magnet that's moving away or approaching. The induced magnetic field energy inside any loop of wire always acts to keep the magnetic flux in the loop constant. So the induced magnetic field energy inside any loop of wire always performs negative work to keep the magnetic flux in the loop constant, to keep it from changing. Another expanded view of LENZ'S law of induction and Heins' law of induction. According to Faraday's law, whenever a voltage is generated in a Regenex generator coil in a closed circuit, a time-delayed current is caused to flow in that circuit. The direction of the induced and delayed current has a definite relation to the variation of the magnetic field that is externalized around the coil. This relation is formalized by a law of physics called Heins' law of induction, which may be stated as followed. An induced voltage will cause a delayed current to flow in a closed circuit in such a direction that the direction of the magnetic field energy that is externalized around the coil will perform positive work in assisting the change that produced it. In the case of a generator, for example, when the induced and delayed current is caused to flow through a load connected to the generator, electric energy is expended. The magnetic field energy that is externalized by the delayed current is always in a direction so that it reacts with the main generator field or the generator's rotating magnetic field and performs positive work, assisting the turning action of the prime mover, which is driving the generator. So the RegenX generator is creating a complementary electromagnetic torque, which is assisting the prime mover rather than resisting the prime mover. So we're going to give a little demonstration here on the effects of electron flow in a wire. Currently we have a wire sitting here, and inside the wire there are electrons which are producing magnetic fields. But the net effect, the net production of the magnetic fields is zero. So when I move this magnet past the wire, because there's no current flowing in the wire, because there's no free electrons flowing in the wire, because the electrons which are producing magnetic fields around them are not flowing in the wire, there's no interaction between the permanent magnet field and the electromagnetic field. So now we're putting 6.5 amps of current through this wire. And 6.6 amps of current represents about 40 million trillion electrons passing by this between the two red wires. Now, 40 million trillion electrons passing by this point are externalizing magnetic field energy around the wire, and when we introduce an external magnetic field, work is being performed by the externalized electromagnetic field, the subatomic quantum photon energy field that's produced around this wire, and that subatomic photon energy field is performing work changing the kinetic energy of the wire. The energy conversion that's occurring in our circuit is we're converting 37 watts of electric input power. We are using 37 watts of electric power, and we're converting 100% of that energy to heat, and we're heating the lab. The energy that is being created around which is being externalized around the current bearing wire was created during or prior to the Big Bang. Thank you for taking the time to watch this video. Please check the description box and you'll find the article that I'm basically reading from, and then the videos which support this demonstration. Thanks again. Cheers for now.